Yeah, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from across the world. This is Nation Building Series coming to you live tonight again. And it's been a wonderful journey all the way up till now. And I want to agree, I want to believe you would agree with me that it's really been enlightening. It's been an interesting sessions, especially in the last 3 weeks. We've had, because the month of April, like I said, is a special one where we'll be hosting guests. We'll be hosting people to discuss different areas, selected areas of interest that impact on our lives globally and locally, especially discussions around things that could drive us to doing better with regards to engagement, service, and things around personal development, especially in the areas of politics and political engagement. So good evening once again, and I'm happy to be here again. This is Femi Owoyele coming to you live on Nation Building Series. I know for sure that tonight is going to be another beautiful one, as usual, and I believe that by the end of the whole session, some of us will say, yes, it's been inspiring, and there will be take-home lessons. So if you're online at the moment, you could just say hello, just wave, and then I'll know that, yes, beautiful. I can see a few persons joining already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you always for everyone that has joined, whether once, twice, or for all the sessions that we've had so far. You are the reason why we are here, because you keep giving the morale to push on, to go on, because when you know that, people are there supporting you, listening, and also giving their contributions, it inspires a lot, and it also helps to drive forward, because at every level, we need to also push together. Thank you so much for joining. Just say hi or wave to us as we start. While I also would want to bring on board almost immediately my guest tonight, because it's a special one. Thank you for those who joined last week, and despite the challenges we had to move down to IG, and we had a great session with Professor Adewale Aderemi. For those who want to check that interview again, is re-recorded on Instagram Live at Fowoyele, so you could check up that particular session. Then the session we had on the new media too with Adeoye Da Costa is still very much there. It's on Facebook Live. You could go back to it and check again. Oh, thank you so much, Adeban Bogbeson. I can see you. Good to see you, ma'am. So once you join, just say hello or just wave. It will be good to have you. So I'd like to tell you briefly about tonight's session. While I wait for my guest to come online, I'll just do like a brief introduction. So the topic tonight, I want to be sure you can hear me. If you can hear me, just say yes, you can, or just confirm to me that yes, you can hear me loud and clear. So tonight's session is a unique one, and I'll tell you the reason why I said it's a unique one. Our topic is civic engagement and community service as a tool for national development. Civic engagement and community service as a tool for national development. Okay, beautiful. All right, I'm trying to add. Oh, beautiful. I guest on right here tonight. So while I'm trying to add my guest now. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let me move on straight. While the introduction simply beautiful. Deborah Adewale is here. Just hold on a minute. I'll do the proper introduction. Then we, like I used to say, fire on. So civic engagement and community service as a tool for national development. I'd like to say it this way. Normally, every time a problem is identified, every time we look around us and we see our peculiar challenges as a people, the natural tendencies, and that has been the case oftentimes, is to complain, is to condemn, and naturally to blame the government, whether at local government level, at state level, at federal level. When you're going on the road, an accident happened, oh, you see that, you say it's a bad road, terrible government. When there is educational crisis, challenges here and there, you say it is government. Health issues, a lot of issues, almost everything that happens around us. I mean, I'm not absolving government of any issue at all, but the purpose for tonight's session is to look at other areas or other systems of service that does not necessarily include or need government, as it were. Of course, maybe on the long run, you could now need government support, government approval, and all those things. But at every level, I believe that everyone has the capacity to render service, to provide a system of support, and to solve a problem. Let's make it that very simple. Everyone has capacity at every level to solve a problem. And that is the essence for tonight's session. That can we look at the systems of even engaging, not just politically now, and that's why it's civic engagement. So when you talk of civic engagement, it's just talking about an individual or group activity addressing issues of public concern. So you identify maybe a situation around young people around your area. You see something terribly happening to environmental condition in your community, and then you decide as a person or as a group to come together to not just talk about it, to either engage the authorities in question, provide solution, or even take the responsibility to drive the desired change. Sometimes we need to understand beyond just the surface that it is men, I keep using that word, it is men who build some of the countries that we love so much, some places that we think that they have systems that are working for them. It is human beings, you and I, not necessarily institutions of government, that begin at different levels to make impact, to create change, to make effort at solving problems. And at that level, by the time you have pockets of, if for example, I'm touching the lives of 10 people, for example, someone else is directly or indirectly making efforts to impact about 5 persons at another level. Another person is doing something that is impacting maybe a community. Imagine if everybody intentionally at different levels decides to solve a problem, however simple, however big, however little. You will be surprised that at the end of the day, we will see that we are indeed the government. We are not, like I said, tonight is not the night where we'll be dissecting issues around governance, politicians, policies, government, and all that. Tonight is just to look beyond those institutions, to looking at what we can do as individuals, what we can do as a collective, what we can do as a people, what you and I can come together to say, see, there's a problem that we've observed. These children or these students are not serious, even though they have a public, they are in a government secondary school. Can we take time out to just do once a week to provide a level of inspirational motivation for them? Can we provide ourselves with that support to give them extramural classes? Can we do extra lessons, mathematics and other sciences, to support whatever they have? To support their teachers, to provide solutions and all that. Oh, this environment is terrible. People dump sites and all that. Can we create a solution that just solves this problem as an individual and as a group? At different level, when this cultural mindset changes or shifts in this positive direction, you begin to see that our society becomes better, and then that tendencies to become solution providers would now be very, very visible and becomes real. Thank you so much for joining. Olu Ojomo, I can see you. Prince Muhyiddin Yusuf, I can see you. For Bolaji Oriyemi, a number of people who have joined, I can see you. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. So it is because of the Adebambo Gbeson, I can see you. Thank you so much. It is because of this reason that I have decided for two reasons actually, to bring in my guests tonight. Um, my guest tonight is a young lady that I've observed for, I mean, maybe the last 2, 3, 4 years, who I have seen. I mean, she's not just energetic, she's not just intelligent. I mean, she's won a couple of awards for her works in the social sector. She's doing well for herself, and you wonder, I mean, what is your motivation? Why would a young lady who is not being paid be doing so much in the area of services, providing social responsibilities, I mean, solving problems, organizing people? Today you will see them, they are in Songo trying to solve an environmental challenge. Tomorrow you watch them, they are somewhere in Abeokuta doing the same. So almost every time you see somebody driving change and all that. So, and then the fact that she's also to balance the equation of that we've had in the last few weeks, we also need a woman in the house who is also making change. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the coordinator of the YALI, that's Young African Leaders Initiative, that's President Obama's initiative, then the coordinator for Ogun State, Deborah Adewale. Thank you so much for joining. You want to say welcome, Deborah, to this session. So without wasting time at all, I'll just take you straight to the questions. And the very first one is, of course, you have the liberty to give your introduction, but I would like to take you straight by asking, what is your drive? Like I said, you did not become the coordinator for state YALI, Ogun State, the whole of Ogun State. You have networks, you have branches, you have, I mean, everywhere, units everywhere, and you are the, I would say, the #1 citizen of the YALI in Ogun State. I need to ask you, what is your drive in the direction of community service, civic engagement? Can you hear me clearly?
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me, sir?
Very well, very clearly.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on board. I really do appreciate it. You said you've known me for 3 years. I've also known you for 3 years, and you've always been a source of inspiration. So I must say that. Um, Very quickly, so I won't take much of our time today. When we talk about drive itself, the word drive itself is always being forwarded by some level of motives and some level of goals. So for me, the drive to actually engage in civic engagement was basically not to just see a change, but to actually be the change. And I think most people have actually been able to in me before I even sometimes before I get to a place, by the time they just see me, they see my stature, they see my age, and they see the reason why I'm there. They always try to like, how come a young lady like you having to face us with such societal issue like this? And that means you have a level of exposure, that means you have a level of concern for your community. So, and that is you coming up to be the change. So it's basically having to be the change and not just see the change, because if I don't take the step to actually effect a change, then who else would be the one to actually effect the change? So if I'm doing it, I can always inspire the younger people. If I'm doing it, I can always inspire the older people. If I'm saying let's be the change and I'm not being the change, then I'm not balancing the drive. So basically for me, it's actually been a level of me wanting to be the change in whatever I do and with all my engagement. And far so good. It's been a very, very lovely journey, because it's the fact that it doesn't pay me financially, but trust me, sir, social capital.
Mm. Wow. 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 Thank you so very much. I think there's a fluctuation, network fluctuation from your end.
Okay.
It keeps ceasing at some point, so finding it difficult to hear you clearly. But I mean, I captured your. I was able. Well, I'm sure a number of people also got you clearly. The fact, I mean, the essence is well defined, and thank you so much. So I'll still take you on that, but before we go there, maybe I will take it from this angle. And there's a research recently that, I mean, I read about a research by an American, Robert Putnam. I mean, wrote a book called Bowling Alone, and the research showed that as people become more aware, as people get opportunities to get formal education, the more, as people become more aware of their social capital and why they need to serve, why they need to make impact, why they need to engage more, people become more ironically, people become more individualistic. This is my point. I mean, you will think that getting enlightened, getting formal education will help you to be more aware, to know the value of service in the community, to understand how to engage politically, how to engage in, I mean, how to do civic engagement. You would expect that to naturally flow. But unfortunately, the more people become aware, the more people become more individualistic. So you want to just maintain yourself, live your life for yourself and for your family. You care less about what is happening in your community. I mean, you just want to focus. You want to run your career, run your business, care less about what is happening around you and all that. What would you say? I'm somebody who is very active in this sector, who goes out almost every time coordinating people to make impact across board and all that. What would you say is responsible for this? And this is, I mean, the reality, especially of people like, I would say, even Nigerians. What would you say is the reason for this? Thank you.
Okay, sir. There are a couple, not just even a couple. There's a lot of reasons why this is how it is today. First of all, I'd like to paint a scenario to let us have a view of one of the points I'll be pointing out. First of all, before before we got the formal education, or should I say, before we got the opportunity to be civilized, I mean, the colonial masters and all of that. Before, in the traditional setting, it really didn't take nothing more than a dog being beaten for people to come together and face something that is probably coming to attack them, or probably to attend to something that is concerning the community and all of that. It really didn't take, all it took was just a town crier, and everybody would come together and say, okay, what is going on? So at that point in time, there weren't things that would necessarily have different opinion. The source, the information was coming from one source, and they believed that source to be the highest authority on ground. That is one. Two, I'll actually like to paint a scenario of also the fact that sometimes, okay, take for example, a lot of us did some maths, some use for them, but you know, when there's too much of information, sometimes you don't even know which one to discern and which one to use and which one will be useful for you. You just want to be like, okay, for survival purpose, you just ignore those things and you just leave. Now, this is the case with civic engagement with young people currently right now. In fact, there's another maybe present them a recommendation letter, probably when they want to apply for something and travel out. And most of the time, I'd be like, how do you want me to write a recommendation letter for you when you've not even participated up to 3 months with the organization? That's one. Two, you've not even come to our physical meetings. You've not even engaged with us. You've not really had engagement with us and all of that. And most of the time, some of them just open up to me that one of the reasons why they actually join civil societies like this is actually because of the fact that they would need a recommendation letter in quote by the time they would want to apply for a multinational job or something like that. So the fact of survival is also there. So for me, basically, so it's not as if people don't want to come out. a lot of young people want to actually come around, a lot of young people want to actually engage, but sometimes when they see how the environment is, so the environment can be very, very discouraging. I mean, take for example, sometimes as a young process they were giving me to get an approval was just too much. And the funny thing was, this was something I could have been able to get, assuming there was a database. It was really that basic. But then there wasn't any. So sometimes the factor around even wanting to engage yourself civically can be very, very frustrating. Sometimes the environment doesn't even encourage it. That is one. Two, the fact that there's a split. There's no trust. There's no trust whether with the government or even with the people. Because another example I would want to cite for that was I actually volunteered with an NGO around my diploma time, because I did diploma in Abeokuta and all of that. And that particular NGO that I volunteered for, when the owner approached me, then he approached me on a level that they want to do some social engagement for primary school students and all of that. It sounded quite interesting, and I joined them. Later on, maybe because I'm a very, very inquisitive person, I got to know that whenever he gets money from politicians to do the project, right? So whenever he gets money from politicians, he's always using it to channel himself for appointments. And before I know,
Wow. Sorry, can you recap? I think we lost you for, sorry, Deborah. We lost you for about a few seconds. I think the network from your end. So yeah, you were talking about the person when the person gets money. The person you were volunteering for the organization, when the owner gets money, that was where we lost you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly?
yes, I can hear you clearly, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, good. Very well.
Okay, so the issue was actually the fact that the young people that he had behind him, I mean, the young people that were volunteering freely and open minded with his organization, I noticed that he was just using them just for him to propel himself as if he had followers that can help these politicians to gain voters during election period. And during election period, all he did was just to give them 2 Congo of rice. And at the end of the day, he got an appointment and he just keeps.
Wow. So, ah, can you switch? Sorry, can you switch network?
Okay, let me try something.
Yeah, is it possible for you to switch network? It's really breaking from your end.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it's something you can do, but I mean, I'm really getting a lot of information already. I mean, maybe I should recap why if it's something you can achieve from your end while you're doing that, I should just emphasize because the question was, why is it that even though people get more aware, people get more interested, people know the reasons why they should serve, they just don't want to. Everybody is running after their personal business, their family, and I mean, so you've established 2 points now. You establish economic reality on the part of a lot of young people who actually understand the value of volunteering, but may not just want to because of their reality. They have economic challenges. They have to, in quotes, also their way. They have good value. Those, especially those that even have good value system, that really want to make change or be part of a structure that changes things for the better. But their reality is a problem. I mean, you've established that. Then the next second one that you just established now is the fact that I mean, trust issues. There are a lot of trust issues where people try to get people to come on board and then use them only to later discover they use them for personal agenda. So somebody comes up to say that I want to solve maybe a water challenge of a community. The person comes on board, gets young people together to work and create that social capital or value to the community, only for them to discover that, the guy gets grants from somewhere and disappears. The last example Deborah painted just now says that the guy got the fund and then got an appointment with, maybe at the federal level or state level, and disappears both with fund and everything. At the maximum, he gave all the people they had worked for a reasonable period of time, having gotten resources, because people would know, was maybe 2 Congo of rice and things like that, like 2 jerichas of rice. So those are like discouragements, because we are looking at why is it that people are not really, I did a research and I discovered that, this one is a UN report now, United Nations report, that countries like Brazil, Kenya, Lebanon, and I think Bangladesh are doing so much that young people there are putting their social capital, their skills, they are putting their resources and creating social capital in their communities. And this is a confirmed report that they are doing it, so there's a level of continuity in that flow, that you see young people from different states within the country, for example, Brazil, doing this same thing repeatedly. And United Nations has been able to conduct research to confirm that this is already changing the course of events, regardless of what the government is doing, regardless of the posture of governance with regards to impact and affecting societies. It is obvious that in these countries, they see that there are a lot of young people deploying their skills, their time, their energy, their resources to just solving problems. So there is this level of bandwagon, positive bandwagon effect, that if Femi is doing it in this community, I should be able to also organize a few people to create the same social capital. And you see it happening everywhere, so that there is light at every corners of the state, and it's transforming societies already. For example, like I said at the introduction, if I'm affecting the lives of 5 people, Deborah is affecting the life maybe through a network, because she heads an organization, an international organization, and she's the leader in Ogun State, and they are doing so well. Maybe she's affecting the lives of maybe 10,000 people, for instance, and I'm affecting the life of 2 people. Someone is affecting the lives of 5 people. Somebody is affecting the life of a small community. Somebody, through his own social enterprise program, is affecting a village somewhere, and everybody intentionally decides to just be a problem solver, decides to look beyond himself or herself as the only person that has a problem, to saying that, see, if I die today, what will they say about me? Will they say that, oh, the guy was just good, at least we see him with his wife and his children, just that? Can there be 1 or 2 people that would say about you that, oh, if not for this person that came into this community to create this value, to teach these children? Sometimes it's not about money. It is the knowledge that you have. You know mathematics, you know science courses. You could volunteer to just go to a public secondary school and add value to them, or a private secondary school and add value, or create an after class maybe once a week. So you are doing this intentionally, to saying that this is my own contribution to make the life of somebody better. So by the time we all, this is something that I'm really passionate about as a person. So when I saw someone like Deborah doing this at a very big stage, coordinating young people, you see them everywhere, cleaning environment, solving problems, providing solutions, doing digital. She's also a Google certified coach, trains people on Google Analytics and what have you and all that. When I see this, and most times does this thing for free, just gathering teenagers together, training them on how to use the, not just the internet now, Google and some analytical tools, solving problems. You'll see, and I wonder, Deborah, how do you balance this? Because I know you are still running an academic program. So you do this, you also do a bit of business. I know you also work, and then you coordinate thousands of people across the Ogun State, and then you also volunteer, and every week in, week out you're doing. How do you even balance all these things? Let's start. Probably we can learn from you and inspire more people watching. Thank you for joining. Let me recognize for everyone that has joined. I can see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kudus Davis, Oluwaseyi Maibami, Boye, Bolaji Oriyemi. I can see you all. Emmanuel Adeosun, Ridwan Odekeye, Deborah Tolulope, Olusoya Razak, Oludayosa. I can see you. Okonkwo, Victor Afamefuna. Thank you so much. Abiodun Karim, I can see you all. Thank you for joining. So, I mean, Deborah, how do you balance all this together? I mean, I know you run some other things and all that, yet you do so much. How do you even balance? Maybe you can inspire some of us to knowing that we can do it in the midst of all our issues.
Okay, thank you very much. So for me, it's not really a fight of balance. It's actually more of whatever you have passion for, you definitely create time for. So myself and my family sometimes we fight because they'll be like, why create time for something that doesn't pay you? Any financial gain? So, and I'm like, it's only it's not really about balancing because we won't deny it, we won't lie to ourselves. Sometimes we tend to have to weigh things, just like life of work and marriage, or ministry and marriage, just you know sometimes yeah, use the time for one for the other, but ensure that effective and productive whatever I give myself.
Okay, thank you very much. But your line is still seizing. But I get you. You were talking about balancing. For those who may be having difficulty hearing you clearly, I heard you. You were talking about balancing. That sometimes it gets into a level of friction, even with members of your family, because of so much that you do. And you talked about allocating time and priority. Beautiful. I mean, as a way to balancing all this together, and it inspires us a lot, because when you see, I mean, if you would do that, I mean, who else cannot? Regardless, and like I said, okay. Somebody says any power disturbing this network and Abiodun Karim, thank you so much. Okay, so all right, so it's one of our realities, and I believe we'll get better as things goes on. But like Deborah just said, the purpose of this is to look at how to balance things and also to go a notch further. So, but Deborah, there's something I'd like to also point out as a form of question. I want to believe maybe we can hear you clearly this time around. So the next question is around the fact that there is a level of, I mean, I mentioned earlier that there are countries that obviously have values in terms of their young people transforming things as we speak. Don't forget that we've said at the introduction that we are not talking about the government today. We are looking at the social sector. We are looking at individuals. We are looking at groups. That we are looking at small groups making the difference. So my next question will now be that let's domesticate this reality, Nigeria. The idea of volunteering, especially when it comes to social enterprise or social values, the idea of volunteering is not so common here. I mean, in relative terms here, you see volunteering happen in states that maybe they are more enlightened, or even in local communities, not necessarily, but that idea of volunteering, giving yourself to a service, to joining a civil society group, an NGO, to serve deliberately because you just want to add value without getting necessarily, in quotes, paid, is not so common here. Why do you think is not? Okay, you have addressed a part of it by saying that it could be economic crisis and all that, but that idea of people maybe finishing NYSC and saying that I want to dedicate the next 1 year for this particular purpose, to just affect lives and join this organization to make impact or create my own. So that idea is not so common here. But when there are social issues, political issues, you see a lot of social media engagement, and you are wondering, you see a lot of comments, you see a lot of arguments, you see forces and counter forces on the media, I mean, addressing issues. I mean, you see weight, you just see barrage of information on that particular major issue. For example, don't let me give an example now. Let's just put it generally, that when you see this energy that we create on the social media, but unfortunately they don't translate into actual impact. What would you say is a disconnect point at this level, and how can we maybe aggregate or these energies into making real impacts? So what would you say is the disconnecting point, and how can we now aggregate all these our energies, social media energies, ideas and all that, to making real impact, that even if it is two people's life that we are deliberately affecting, I mean, it will be better? Can you hear me? Deborah, can you hear clearly? Hello, Deborah. I think we're having a real challenge from Deborah's network here now.
Deborah, all right, thank you very much.
Okay.
So very quickly, is that a lot of can you, sir?
Yes, we can. I can. I can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying that, yeah, first things first, a lot of young people that are actually even involved in civic engagements kind of find it shameful to even post. And there's a stigma that even comes with it from social media. Some people believe that if you help people, if you give food to the needy, if you give clothes, very wrong. This is very, very wrong, because this is what would then like inspire someone else to do it. Sometimes you can actually have someone that is your neighbor that needs something, but it won't occur to you because it's not your need. But when you see someone post something about them giving something to someone, and you're like, that's true. I'm always noticing that my neighbor always wears two different slippers. I should try and make sure to find out what is wrong with her or what is wrong with him. That would inspire that person. So there's a stigma that comes with it, that when you do something that is free, when you donate, don't come online and talk about it. It is very, very wrong. Because if you can talk about sex online, if you can talk about rape, if you can talk about gender equality, then why can't you talk about that? That is one. Two, storytelling. Yeah. So a lot of young people that are actually into this kind of social work and all of that do not have the skills of storytelling. And storytelling is something that is actually very beautiful. This is what to captivate people to actually even want to know, okay, what are you doing? What is it about? Okay, knowing how to present yourself, knowing how to sell yourself, your unique selling point in your work. People actually think that it's just like maybe because you are a Muslim or you are a Christian, then there should be a natural part of you that will be doing things to the community. No, there are a lot of young people, there are a lot of old people that are part of a religious organization that choose not to do anything for their community. And of course, we can't condemn them. It is their choice. But in that choice, sometimes we need to consider the fact that a neighbor, someone out there needs something that we are actually denying that person. Because personally, I believe that as an individual, someone's blessing is attached to you, and your blessing is also attached to someone else. So that is one. Two, there's also a stigma, not like a stigma though, but I think I mentioned it earlier, something around the economical factor. There's this thing that sometimes when I meet older people that have gone further in business, or maybe like a mentorship session or something, and they ask me, okay, what do you do? And I tell them I do this, I do that, I do this, and they tell me, I hope you know that cannot pay your bills. I hope you know that you cannot help. You should not help if you've not been helped. And I would wonder, because I would feel that if life is a give and take. If I don't give what I have, then how can I take what I want? This is something that is actually one thing I feel that young people need to consider. So forget the fact that it's not paying you. As a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, I think you should not just even actually concern yourself about the payment factor. How about you build yourself a skill that you can leverage on the relationship of those people that you know in your network or in the organization that you're part of, and make money through them? You might not, the organization might not pay you directly, but then mouth to mouth referral, the organization will bring you people that would naturally sleep in their house. The organization will make them come together. That is an opportunity for you to expose yourself. That's an opportunity for you to advertise your business. So get a skill. Aside from social work, get a skill. If you're not getting paid by the social work you're doing, get a skill. Nobody will don't Of course, nobody's going to arrest you for that. In fact, you are expected to have a skill. Even in politics, you shouldn't go into politics without having a business of your own before going into politics. Because if you go into politics without having a business, we will just believe that you're going there to eat our money. So that's the same thing with social work. Get a skill, do something that would earn you money if you're not getting money from it. And as a matter of fact, when you want to do social work, you shouldn't even come to the social work with the mindset of making money. Yes, some NGOs might pay you, but then it is more about the impact. It is more about humanity. And that is where your passion needs to come to play. If you don't have passion for it, then don't just stress yourself. You can as well just support people financially. If you're the kind of person that don't want to be coming out, you don't want to be seen given, you can support people financially. If you feel you don't have the financial capacity, then you can always, maybe you have the manpower strength. Maybe you can give us like 5 pack of drinks. Maybe you can give us banner for free. Maybe you can give us the t-shirts. So many ways of support. So there's no stigma to this. I believe that people should not try to make this seem as if it's a stigma or it is wrong to post about your work
Wow, wow.
online. And I think it's a very wrong one.
Thank you very much. The next question is, how do you interact with where you have issues or you want to go on a project where you need to engage people in government, authorities? How do you engage? What difficult, do you have challenges, I mean, getting approval? What are the peculiarities around this connection?
There are always challenges, not just even in getting approval or something. Normally in life, whatever you want to do, there are always obstacles. But seeing beyond the obstacles and finding the possible options is always the best way to go. So most times, but like I mentioned earlier, there was a time I wanted to get an approval from Subeb and all of that, but I wasn't getting it. I had to resurface. In cases like that, we sometimes we just go into private public partnership. And if public private partnership is not working, we go into private partnership, we go into individual partnership, we go into community fundraising, individual fundraising. There was a time we wanted to give one of our members a wheelchair. He's quite physically challenged and all of that. And he had told us that he had gone to the Ministry of Government and all of that. They promised him they were going to help him. We also tried to put letters to them to see how they can help him. We weren't getting anything coming from. And time was going by. He was having issues with his wheelchair. We had to source inside donation and buy him a new wheelchair from ourselves, my individual pocket. We challenge everybody with a 1,000 naira. We have over 400 members, so we challenge everybody to pay as low as 1,000 naira, and we're able to get him a new wheelchair. We're able to get him some other things just to support him. So these are ways that we can always. I mentioned earlier also, some people might want to support us, even if sometimes even some government officials, if they know that the government will not give us approval, sometimes themselves they help us personally. That's how beautiful, because they know the essence, they know the impact we are going to create. And it's because and they will only support us because they see the sincerity in our hearts to want to do those things.
Wow.
So beyond the challenges, we always try to find a way around it. And sometimes if you don't find a way, we just have to re-strategize.
Okay, very good, very good. So lastly, before we round up, I'd like you to mention to us what areas I know of education, giving your support in terms of maybe providing teaching service to secondary school or primary school pupils. And maybe you should name them for us. What areas can someone listening to you now and tells him or herself that I also can make impact, but how do I engage? If I want to start as an individual, what can I do? If I need to form a group, how easy for me, and what areas can we focus on?
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that opportunity. First of all, there's something that we all should know about. I don't know if some of us know about it already, and it is called the SDGs, which is the Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
And there are 17 in numbers. You can always go to Google and browse about it. Goal 1 talks about no poverty. Goal 2 talks about food. Yeah, I think something around food. Goal 3, Goal 4 talks about education. Goal 5 and all of that. There's land or water. There's land over land. There is climate action. So whatever you do at all, if you're a musician, you can always compose a song like a nursery rhyme for children that will talk about climate issues that will make them aware. I mean, imagine a 4-year-old singing about a climate song. It's conscious, it's unconsciously and subconsciously, you know, tells them that okay, we need to care about our climate. So as a banker, you can always support online. Maybe go through go to channel, join associations. There are always associations there. Yali is here for you in Ogun State. If you would like to create impact, we are always here to welcome new members. There are other ones there. There are Rotary, there are JCIs, a lot of them. Trust me, there are a lot of them. Civil society that are ready to take you up and support you. But just know that no matter what you do, even I'm blessed to have a pastor that is actually very, very cautious of community engagement. Even my pastor sometimes would be like, okay, what are you doing? Where are you going to? Okay, I'm going to support you in my own little way. Okay, you need speakers, I'm going to give it to you. So these are ways that you can actually support beyond. Just look beyond the money. Look beyond the money. What can you do? Some I have a couple of friends right now that are doing a project, and the project requires that you donate your used jeans. Maybe you have a jean that you've not been wearing for like three months or 4 months and all of that. You donate it to them and they convert it to a school bag and give it to children of low living communities. So you can imagine there's always a way for you to contribute. There's always a way for you to contribute. Trust me, no matter what you do, there's always a way for you to contribute. It just requires your sincerity, your will, and your action.
Wow. I like the last example you gave. I mean, people who have gene, I mean, what an initiative. Are those set of people in Ogun State as we speak? The guys collating gin and turning it into school bags for children. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, hello? Hello, Deborah, can you hear me? Okay, I hear you. Okay, did you hear my question? I said the set of friends you said are currently collating gene materials from people. Are they in Ogun State as we speak? And is the project still on? Oh, very good. See, you can see now. Abiodun Karim says, I have some gin to give. Oh, I also have some gin to give. I think that's a beautiful initiative. Maybe after now we'll talk about it. Then what I would do because of the challenge we've had with hearing you clearly, I've been able to pick a lot of lessons from you already. So I will do like a short report of this session and post it online, and possibly I mean, maybe you'll be surprised at who and how we can also still expand these frontiers of making impact as an individual and as a collective from our own corners without necessarily depending absolutely on government. Wow, it's been a beautiful session. Thank you so much. Deborah, we are going to do this again. Maybe in a way, we might now need to have a one-on-one talk instead of so that we'll find a way to solve this connection problem. We'll have a full session where we just broadcast direct, and I believe people will be able to learn so much. Thank you so much. I understand the weather has disrupted the network generally, and I believe that we can get things better. Thank you so much. So any parting words from you? What would you have to say to young people, people listening to us from everywhere? What would you have to say to them? Can you hear me? Deborah, can you hear clearly?
Can you hear me, sir?
Very well, yes.
All right. For me as an individual, I have three watchwords that has been guiding me, regardless of what I'm doing, and I feel it's something that can always guide you, regardless of what you do too. And they're just three words, which are just deliberate decisions, intentional actions, and the right association. With these three things, trust me, the sky is not even your limit. It's not even your starting ground. You have a long way to go, and success is definitely just knocking around.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful week. I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. You will go from height to height. Let me
Thank
say
you
that,
very much.
let me say beyond the ones that we have seen, you will go further. You know, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is currently the Director General of World Trade Organization. I mean, maybe Deborah will now be the next United Nations Secretary General from Nigeria, and then even become bigger. We wish you all the best in all your endeavors. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you,
Thank
Biodu
you very much
Karim.
for having
Thank you,
me.
thank you, thank you so much. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining this session. All I have to say is that next week, which will be the officially the last session, I think, for this series, will be mind-blowing because I have a big fish that I will reveal during the week that will be coming on too. God bless you. Have a beautiful week. Thank you. Bye.